welcome to the Pioneer Coaches Show. With me now, I have head women's soccer coach J.R. Dodson. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Jagger. Always great to be here.
All right, Coach. Just first thing, your thoughts on Sunday's 2-0 win over Lake Erie College?
That was a great way to start the season. We're real happy with everybody and how they performed. It was a good team effort. Not one person stood out. Though Grayland, with her 2 goals, makes it look like she stood out.
Yeah.
Offensive Player of the Week. That was great stuff for us. And but it was for us, it looked like a great team effort.
And talking about Grayland Floyd, she only had 1 goal in her career, and then she turns around Sunday, has 2 goals. Your thoughts on her performance?
She's just a hard worker. She doesn't stop. I mean, it doesn't matter at the beginning of the game, at the end of the game. She's just a hard worker. So she's always going to find herself around the ball. Just a lot of times she's been in that supporting role. So even I don't know how many assists she had last year, but I bet if we looked that up, she'd have a good handful of assists.
And talking now to your next opponent, Roberts Wesleyan. They were NCAA tournament team last year, won their league, and then lost in the first round of the tournament. What have you seen so far out of them?
Well, it's hard to tell because we've never played them before, but I know they're a solid team. So they played Lake Erie before us, and they had the same result, a 2-0 score.
Yep.
So I think we're going to be in for a tough battle. The travel's always big, so it's about a 7-hour trip. We'll go up there, play on grass, which we don't do very often.
Yeah.
So some things. So it's going to be a good challenge for us before we get into conference play. But I think if the girls played like they did Sunday, I think we'll be in a good place.
And you mentioned the conference play. You opened up the league play with West Virginia State on Sunday. Do you like playing a team of that caliber, this early in the year? Because they were picked to finish second in the league on the Southern Division.
Well, the funny thing of it is, Jagger, we don't have a choice.
Yeah, true.
The Southern Division is always tough. Always tough. So we never have a choice on trying to get some easier games in the beginning. So, yeah, I like it, to be honest, because it sets a tone right away. We have to be ready right away, and that's what we've been preaching since day one.
Sorry, Coach. And then going back to the first win of the year, you start out the year with a win. There's going to be mistakes. There's going to be kinks to work out. Is it a lot better when you open up the year with a win and you can go back and fix the mistakes rather than going back and having to fix mistakes from a loss?
Yeah, 100%. There are some little things that we want to work on, but for the most part, like I told the girls, usually after a game, I always look for 2 or 3 negatives to tell them right after the game because everybody's high, and there wasn't a whole lot to pick from. There really wasn't a whole lot to pick from.
And then, last thing with the roster, you've got some key returners, Itana Viejo, Meryl Smets, Nola Garcia. I could go down the line. But you also brought in a lot of transfers, freshmen that you like. How has, meshing that roster together been for you?
I tell you, it's been absolutely pleasant. Our girls get along great. They all have the same goals in mind. I think you can't tell who's new and who's not.
Has that been I guess a point of focus for you, just trying to mesh them together, especially with so many people coming in at one time?
Yeah, 100%. I think also what makes it maybe a little bit easier is that we are diverse. So there's people from everywhere. I mean, I don't know what on that starting lineup we probably represented 4 different countries. So I think that makes it actually a little bit easier because they're all going through the same issues. So it's been good.
And you brought those players in because at the Lake Erie game, it was pretty obvious you guys controlled time of possession. I can't remember what the percentage was, but it was lopsided. Was that a point of focus when you were recruiting these players, that you wanted people who could really control the possession for you?
No, the funny thing of it is our focus when we've been recruiting for the last 2 years is about passion for the game. I think the rest of that stuff comes. Of course, yeah, we want someone who's talented and is playing well. And when you look at somebody like Marcelli, she makes you smile to watch her play. She's fun to watch. Sophia at that left back was fun to watch. So they all have that passion for the game, and you can't teach that. They got to want to have that. And so right now, I think we'll have 14, 15 players that we travel to games with that every one of them just has the passion to play well and do well. So I think that's been the big turning point, I think, for us.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on today, and we'll talk to you next week about Roberts Wesleyan and West Virginia State.
Perfect. Thank you, Jagger.
Welcome back to the Pioneer Coaches Show. With me now, head cross-country coach Dan Meyers. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Jagger, thanks for having me.
All right, Coach. It's been a minute since you ran. It was on September 5th. You were at the West Liberty Invite. Your just initial thoughts on that?
Yeah, opener for the year. It's a little later start than years past. The Division II start date was a little later this year on September 5th. So it was awesome to get to square off with some conference schools right off the bat, especially ones that this women's and men's. The preseason rankings came out, and to be able to square up with 4 or 5 teams right off the bat was just really cool. Really cool to get this season going.
And first on the women, Natalie, kicked off her sophomore year after her historic freshman season, finished third, but then you have another freshman, Jenna Barnett, finished fourth. Your thoughts on just her being right there with Natalie already?
Yeah, I mean, it's been trending that way in the workouts. Natalie has been a good role model for Jenna. Jenna was a great high school basketball player as well, so coming to college and just focusing on running, I knew she had the athletic ability. She has a great build for running. She put in, last month, she's probably put in 50-mile weeks in the last 4 or 5 weeks. So I knew she was this fit coming in. I didn't necessarily think a third, fourth place finish for our top 2 girls was going to be in the cards, but it was 80 degrees. We raced in, late afternoon, mid-evening. So for them to, pop off those times, like right off the bat was huge for us.
Mm-hmm.
And then, just in terms of like our youth, on the women's side, being able to, we had 3 freshmen and a junior and a sophomore in our top 5. So very young team. Katie Hicks with 19th place finish. That was a lifetime best for her. I think in our top 7, we had 4 or 5 lifetime bests. So right off the bat in the heat, I mean, I'll take it, absolutely. And those women with that 3rd place finish, I mean, they knocked off, 5 conference schools and 3 that were ranked ahead of us. So that was awesome.
And you mentioned Barnett, that time that she got was also the program's 3rd fastest 5K ever in her first race. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Shifting to the men now, you had a freshman, Patrick Rowley, finished 5th. Your thoughts on just how he performed already as a true freshman?
Yeah, I mean, he's somebody, he loves racing. He loves competing, and he's one of those guys that's going to take the line, and he doesn't care what you've accomplished in the past. He doesn't care the times that you've ran. He's going to go out there and race to the competition level. And, off the bat, I mean, I'm looking at the results right now. In the top 4 was a senior, junior, and a sophomore. And then, he was the next closest freshman was 30 seconds away. So for him to come out and have a debut like that, former state champion, and really excels in the longer distances. And even though the guys are only running a 6K, I mean, at 8K, he's more than ready for it. So he provided a huge spark for our guys team. And, our guys team weren't, overly thrilled with where they finished in the meet, but end of the day, and our men's cross country league is, in my opinion, one of the deepest sports in the conference in general, and 6 of them are ranked in the top 10 in the region.
Yep.
And our top 5 guys were all freshmen.
Yep.
So the average age 18 years old, they're running against grown men.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, honestly, for trotting out 5 freshmen, I'll take that every day of the week. And it's still much improved where our group was last year. And we, like I said, I've told the team, like, we got to control like our expectations. Like, we can't worry about what other people are doing. We're taking such huge strides in our training and our improvements that we got to focus on that. End of the day, like, yeah, conference, it's going to be deep, but, we have a big goal of being top 15 in the region. And, if we're losing to 5, 6 conference schools, I think that with how deep the league is, that top 15 is still, we have bigger goals than just like the conference meet. Yeah. So I don't want them to, pack it in after the first meet and, just kind of lose hope. But like, there's so much hope with that guys team, is that as young as we are. I mean, across the board, we have 13 new faces in the group, and 12 of them being freshmen. So just very pleased with the first meet of the year, and it's been one of the best meets since I've been here.
When you were recruiting, were you expecting, especially on the men's side, like you mentioned, all 5 your top 5 finishers were freshmen? Were you expecting that when you were recruiting these guys?
I think, I'll be honest, I think Pat and Nick was our top 2 guys. I was expecting them to be, in the mix right away.
Yeah.
And I knew just from what they did in the high school level, our returners knew that they were going to be our top 2 guys. But, we got 4 guys from Buffalo High School state championship team last year. Jackson Melt was our 4th guy. Dylan Blackshire was our 5th guy. And truthfully, Dylan's more of like an 800, 1500 guy and has only been running since his junior year of high school. And to see him in the mix with doing limited miles and a lot of cross training was huge. And then, honestly, I think the steal of our recruiting class was Caden Davis, who was our number 3 runner from Hampshire High School, and he competed in a really tough region in track and cross country. And you know, he didn't advance to the state meet in the track because of just the guys that he was running against in his region. And he's had an excellent summer, and he's been our top 5 every workout. So, and then we've had some upperclassmen that have had some sparks in some workouts. We had a great workout this morning, and you know, I told him the next 2 to 3 weeks are the most important for our training. So, no, I didn't expect to be 5 freshmen right off the bat, but they rose to the occasion. They got it done, and we have some great upperclassmen leadership that isn't being bitter about it. They're just happy to have this team to run with, for sure.
And last thing, you mentioned all the guys you got from Buffalo. How did that transpire? Did you just go to see one guy, and then it's like, dang, there's some 3 or 4 other guys that are really good? How'd that happen?
You know, I built a connection with them a little bit at a running camp that me and some other college coaches go to during the summer, and I talked to them a little bit, and then just kind of, you know, as August, September of this time last year hit, my big goal was to get them on campus all together. And, you know, I think that it surprised a lot of teams in the conference that we were able to get them, and especially the whole group. But I think that they've really put our program on the map. And they all have come from great families, great support systems. I mean, we probably had 40, 50 Pioneer fans there the first meet of the year, and that's a testament to the freshmen coming in, just coming from good families that are very supportive of running and the running community in general. So they've provided more than just a running spark for us, and they've really helped build this team culture that we have going.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on today.
Yep, thank you.
Welcome back to the Pioneer Coaches Show. With me now, I've head volleyball coach Kiara Perkins. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Coach, looking back over the weekend, not the way you wanted to start the season, just your overall thoughts on this past weekend.
Definitely this weekend, it was tough, but on like another standpoint, like it really showed what we need to keep working on for this season. You know, going in, not how we expected we were going to play, so that was one thing, but really, like, we really beat ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of errors that we made, I mean, just off of serves, and that was one thing that we talked about this season is we need to limit our errors compared to last season. And I think it was just an eye-opener of, one, what we still need to work on, but also, like, our mindset coming into each game.
And 3 of those 4 teams that you played were picked, you know, to finish high in their league. Then you played Bowie in that last game. One of those games, I think it was 25-22 in all 3 sets, maybe 25-21 in one of them. Kind of what can shift, you know, now looking to your other games now that you can turn the table on that, where you guys are on the other side of that.
So definitely, like, our serves, we missed a lot of serves in there. I mean, coming from our Shepherd game, like, we talked about, like, the standpoint, the stuff that we need to do, because really focusing on what we're doing on our side of the court, because we just give away points.
Yeah.
And I tell him, I was like, we cannot do that. We can't. So I think definitely coming in that with a different mindset coming into that game is definitely what helped boost the energy, the momentum. And I mean, volleyball is a game where the momentum is going to shift in a split second.
Yep.
So, and it shows that. And really, like, when we have that chance to keep earning points, like, we cannot give it away. So.
And then Rita Kelly got all tournament team. She finished the 4 games with 30 kills. How did you feel that Rita played over the weekend?
You know, Rita is definitely one she's been a key player. She's been a key player even since she's been a freshman. So having her back is definitely good for our team as a whole. And just seeing the improvements that she makes every season. And it's just very exciting to watch not only her, but everybody else, especially with the improvements and stuff that everyone did during the off season last semester. That really shows, like, the potential that we really have. Now it's just getting all those pieces together.
And another one we talked about before the show, Mallory Ross, 25 kills. She's really already taken a big step from last year. How did you feel about her performance over the weekend?
Definitely. I mean, Mallory, she's stepped up to the plate. She is one of our best passers for Servicey right now. She is a offensive threat too, and we actually just talked yesterday. It's just a standpoint, like, her mindset, like, this is new to her. Like, this is a big role she's not used to, but her being able to step up and stepping up to the challenge is one thing that she's looking forward to, and I am as well.
And some other players, you got Sadie Hill, the transfer, is your lead assist getter right now, 58, and you lost one before the season. Literally right before the season started. So how do you feel about her performance as well, being your main setter?
She has definitely won. I knew when she came in, she was going to be a go-getter. So, and as setters, like that's exactly what we look for. We need somebody that's not afraid to take those risks. And it shows even in serving. Whenever I tell her a spot, she's going right to it.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter if it's more of a weakness or a strength. She's going to do it.
And now moving forward to this week, actually tonight, West Virginia Tech, they're 3-7 on the year. What have you seen so far out of the Golden Bears?
So definitely competition-wise, one thing that we say is we need to focus on ourselves before we focus on the other teams. Because really, it even showed this past weekend, like we could play with teams. We took a set from Edinburgh.
Yep.
And really when we play to the best of our ability, that's really what we need to focus on. But no, definitely going into each game, especially today and this upcoming weekend, we can't take any team lightly. So that's the big thing. And
you mentioned this upcoming weekend, another tournament. You got 4 games in 2 days. Do you like doing this early in the season just to see where your team's at? Is that something you do want to keep doing?
It is. It is definitely good to see where the team is at a whole, especially with getting that many games in a short period of time. Yeah. One, it's going to help to show the endurance. It's going to help your mindset. Because as you keep going all day, it's really going to show who's in there for the long run.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on today, and good luck this week.
Thank you.